said, I can relate to that young lady, and I felt for her. I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my color.
Yeah. I would love Caitlyn to do is get up one time and then just slap the...
Hello and welcome back, my dear and lovely viewers. Today I'm back with another brand new, amazing, and interesting video that you won't want to miss. So make sure you stay with me until the very end. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into today's video. What happens if one of the greatest basketball stars ever sees the most talented young player in the WNBA being singled out by questionable methods? You'll find out because Cheryl Miller's explosive comments about Brittney Griner's behavior against Caitlin Clark have utterly shaken the basketball world. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen an elite athlete targeted the way Caitlin Clark has been throughout her career? Because of what she witnessed during game, Cheryl Miller's view of the WNBA has entirely changed. This is the aspect of Cheryl Miller's perspective that Brittney Griner finds so devastating. Right now, Caitlin Clark is exactly where Cheryl Miller is. Cheryl Miller was the top player in a league consisting of incredible athletes from 1982 to 1986. Because they couldn't match her outstanding basketball IQ, they tried to physically intimidate her. Cheryl Miller, however, emphasized this crucial distinction. This is the point at which Brittney Griner's reputation becomes truly fascinating. Cheryl Miller understands the difference between what she saw in the mob scenario and championship-level competitive basketball and what she is seeing with Caitlin Clark. In her words, it was the most cowardly act I've seen on a basketball court in decades. You heard right. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 90% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video.
After she made a foul play, Griner appears to mouth something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possibly fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking whack call. We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her and not exactly be in the gratitude space. Griner herself hasn't commented. Now, why is that? If you were being accused of making racist statements, I think you'd want to clear that up quickly. You'd race to the cameras and put out a statement on X to say, I said fucking whack call.
When Cheryl Miller viewed the footage of Brittney Griner pushing Caitlin Clark, Cheryl Miller reaction was quick and ugly. But even she could see that Brittney Griner's behavior was beyond the norms of sportsmanship and competitive honesty. But listen to what Cheryl Miller has to say about when that shove happened. At this time, Brittney Griner is utterly heartbroken by her analysis. Before we continue, if you haven't already, the basketball player raised an issue that many fans have been thinking about, but nobody with her level of notoriety had the guts to voice it. Taking cheap swings at a player while they are completely exposed and not looking is not the same as playing championship level defense. Cheryl Miller emphasized that most people considered her era to be among the most physically taxing in basketball history. Instead of waiting for someone's back to turn before acting like a predator, you face them head on. Like a warrior when you disagreed with them. And that's exactly what Cheryl Miller found most offensive about Brittney Griner's despicable actions. But at this time, Brittney Griner's reputation is totally destroyed by Cheryl Miller's comments. Brittney Griner's pathetic reaction after the event particularly infuriated the senior Celtics player. Instead of apologizing or acknowledging that she might have gone too far, Brittney Griner feigned that the media and fans were unfairly condemning her. "Damned if I do, damned if I don't," she said. But after hearing such comments, Cheryl Miller became even more irate. The game's winners and legends, truly great competitors, always take full responsibility for their actions, even when those actions could put another player in grave risk. According to Cheryl Miller, she said she was reminded of athletes who privately knew they couldn't compete at the highest level as she watched Brittney Griner play the victim and avoid criticism. As a result, they found alternative, questionable ways to affect the game. In other words, because Brittney Griner lacks the real basketball skills to match superior potential, Cheryl Miller effectively described her as a subpar player who employs unethical tactics. This is where Cheryl Miller's research truly shines and reveals a fascinating aspect of Caitlin Clark. Cheryl Miller believes that Caitlin Clark possesses the same unique qualities that made her one of the greatest basketball players in history. Her exceptional basketball IQ, her unexplainable clutch shooting ability, and above all, her divine ability to improve everyone around her. But as someone who respects the ethics of basketball, she also observes something that really concerns her. This incredibly talented young athlete must constantly be on the lookout for cheap shots and dirty tricks rather than focusing only on fulfilling her boundless basketball potential. Cheryl Miller claims that Brittney Griner's approach exemplifies everything that is wrong with some players choosing to play against Caitlin Clark instead of pushing themselves to match her exceptional skill level or outwork her on the court through dedication and preparation. It is a disturbing pattern that she is physically targeted when she is most vulnerable. This behavior, according to Cheryl Miller, is the worst kind of basketball competition she can think of. But because of this, the entire basketball world is talking about Cheryl Miller's provocative comments. Caitlin Clark's predicament was compared by Cheryl Miller to her own experiences with physical intimidation in her career. She did, however, quickly call attention to something that both elevates and perfectly contextualizes Caitlin Clark's situation. She pointed out that Caitlin Clark, who is only 22 years old, is facing far more adversity than the majority of athletes face during their careers. And she's doing it while carrying the weight of becoming women's basketball's unquestioned face. You could bring your laptop and relax. Maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stand. Some of them are yelling crazy about what they are seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we are there for their entertainment. You are. The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd. Both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either my performance or some light racism. Light racism. But Cheryl Miller's comment about Brittney Griner's future in the league is currently making the rounds on social media. And you have to hear it to believe it. Cheryl Miller claims that if the WNBA allows players like Brittney Griner to target superstars without facing repercussions, it sends the message that mediocre players can turn to unethical means to stay relevant, instead of developing their true basketball skills. She claims that this creates a dangerous precedent that may deter the players who are raising the bar for the league. Cheryl Miller went so far as to claim that the league's failure to adequately punish these behaviors deceives young players who watch at home. Instead of teaching kids how to pick on weak opponents, she believes that watching the WNBA should teach kids about skill, dedication, and sportsmanship. But perhaps the most significant part of Cheryl Miller's entire statement was her prediction about Caitlin Clark's future despite these challenges. She asserted that Caitlin Clark was molded by adversity, and that every cheap shot, dirty play, and effort to intimidate her only made her more determined to prove her superiority through pure basketball skill. Caitlin Clark's situation was compared by Cheryl Miller to her own rookie season, when she was constantly put to the test physically by rival players to see if she could handle the pressure. She pointed out that the distinction is that Caitlin Clark is dealing with this behavior in addition to the unheard of media attention and expectations that come with being the most marketable player in WNBA history. This is why Cheryl Miller's backing of Caitlin Clark is so important. She's not merely protecting a gifted athlete. She is protecting basketball's inherent integrity. She believes that Caitlin Elizabeth Clark possesses all the qualities that define basketball, including talent, vision, class, and competitiveness. Additionally, she sees everything that may undermine the sport in athletes like Brittney Griner. The basketball veteran made it clear that the WNBA is at a turning point. They have two options. Either they continue to let weaker players employ dishonest strategies to stay relevant, or they protect and highlight their best players, enabling players like Caitlin Clark to realize their full potential and improve the league as a whole. Cheryl Miller's message was clear. The league's future will depend on the choice made, but this is the question that has everyone talking. Will Cheryl Miller's cautions regarding safeguarding Caitlin Clark be taken seriously by the WNBA, or will they keep letting athletes like Brittney Griner use dubious tactics to damage the league's reputation? Let's continue the conversation in the space provided for comments below. What are Your thoughts on Cheryl Miller's utterly damning critique of Brittney Griner's actions. Do you believe she is being overly critical, or are her critiques entirely justified? More importantly, do you believe the WNBA will eventually move to protect its biggest star in the space provided for comments below? Kindly express your thoughts. I read every single one of them. If you want to see more analysis like this that breaks through the clutter and tells you what's truly happening in basketball, make sure you hit the subscribe button and enable the notification bell. Caitlin Clark's treatment in the WNBA may finally alter as a result of Cheryl Miller's inflammatory remarks. The basketball community is monitoring this issue. I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast. One thing is getting harder to ignore as this story progresses. One game, one hard foul, or one contentious incident are no longer the only topics of discussion. It concerns women's basketball's future, the standards the league hopes to maintain, and how its top players are handled when the spotlight is shining. Few athletes have ever faced the kind of expectations Caitlin Clark has going into the WNBA. Millions of people watch every game she plays. Every action she does is examined from every perspective. Every accomplishment is honored and every failure makes headlines. Being one of the top names in basketball today means that, in the meantime, veterans from all throughout the league are still competing at the top level, bringing years of toughness, pride, and experience to every game, making sure that intense competition never veers into needless or risky play is the WNBA's challenge. Fans are looking for intensity. They desire rivalries. They are looking for real basketball. However, they also desire stability, justice, and respect. Cheryl Miller's comments have sparked passionate debate because they come from someone who understands exactly what it means to play under pressure. Throughout her legendary career, Cheryl Miller faced some of the toughest defenders and most physical opponents basketball has ever seen. Yet, her message wasn't simply about toughness. It was about preserving the game's integrity and ensuring that basketball skill, not controversy, continues to be the main focus. Whether you completely agree with Cheryl Miller's opinion or believe the situation has been exaggerated, there's no denying that her words have people talking. What should happen when the league's biggest talents become the center of physical play is still a topic of discussion among fans, pundits, past players, and media figures. Do officials need to be more stringent? Should the league impose more severe sanctions, or is this just a typical aspect of playing basketball professionally? Everybody appears to have a different response. Caitlin Clark's response is unquestionable. She has continued to concentrate on basketball rather than letting controversy, physical defense, or criticism define her career. She continues to compete, show up, and demonstrate why so many people think she is the sport's future. One of the main reasons her supporters still stand by her is her tenacity. Unprecedented attention is being paid to the WNBA. Social media conversations are expanding daily. Arenas are packed. Television ratings are climbing. And new fans are learning about women's basketball for the first time. These kinds of incidents have an impact on how the league is seen globally, not just on a single player or team. Every game will become significantly more important as the season progresses. Every game that Caitlin Clark plays will be thoroughly monitored. Every contentious play will be examined. Every official decision will be challenged. Additionally, each game will contribute to the story of one of the most talked about seasons in WNBA history. You now have the most important question. Do you believe Cheryl Miller's comments accurately reflect what's happening in the league? Do you believe the WNBA is taking sufficient precautions to safeguard its stars while still permitting competitive physical basketball? And how do you think this entire situation will impact Caitlin Clark, Brittney Griner, and the league moving forward? I sincerely want to know what basketball fans around the world think. So, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. This group is great because of respectful debate, and your viewpoint might be included in a future video. Make sure to press the subscribe button, enable notifications, and never miss another upload. If you like this breakdown and want more in-depth basketball analysis, exclusive updates, and the biggest stories involving the WNBA, NBA legends, and Caitlin Clark, every night, basketball history is being written. Thank you for watching and for your amazing support. You'll learn about the next chapter right here, and it may be even more significant than this one. To ensure you don't miss anything, please leave your opinions in the comments box, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Once you click the video on the screen, we'll see you in the next one.